So good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much, Madan, for inviting me to uh, this event. The stage is actually appropriately set by both Dr. Satish Reddy and Dr. Professor Pillai Rajan, because I'm going to take off from where both left off. Um, and I will take you through um, how we can build a startup engine in India. My learnings from working with the startup ecosystem, the research ecosystem over the last 10 years or so. And after I stepped down from Infosys in 2014, I decided that I will work with the startup ecosystem as well as the research ecosystem. On the startup ecosystem, the results are here. It's just not me alone. All of us together, I believe, have created the third best startup ecosystem in the world in India. On the research ecosystem, results are mixed. It's slowly starting to uh, yield results, but we need to do a lot more. And so I will focus more on the research ecosystem in my short presentation. Uh, Before I start, I just want to, uh, I want all of you to actually ask this question, and at the end of my presentation, hopefully you should write down what can each one of you do. Because that's the purpose of my presentation, right? To get you involved in this and make you do something to help us in this. Whether you can mentor, Sadish Reddy also talked about mentoring. We need lots of mentors. You can volunteer time, both in the research area as well as in the startup area. You can, of course, be an entrepreneur, create a startup. You can fund, and funding doesn't have to be large, because at the angel investment stage, small investments is sufficient, right? We need large number of angel investors for the country. You can actually encourage students to become entrepreneurs, go to universities, colleges, etc. So a lot of things you can do. And if you are working in a large enterprise, take your Saturday morning, work with a startup, mentor them for a couple of hours. You will learn a lot, because the way the startups work is very different from how a large enterprise works. And the pace at which they work, the speed of execution, all are very different. And that's something that person working in a large enterprise can learn. Because large enterprises are considered to be slow and bureaucratic and things like that. Startups can't afford to do that. So you can actually learn by working with a startup. Of course, you will help them also grow. So I'll start off with a couple of slides on why India is important from a startup perspective for the entire world, actually. It's very important to understand that, because there is a unique role that India can play. First of all, it's a very large market. I'm going to stand on that side, closer to the slides here. It's a large population, 20% of the world's population, large pool, lower cost. Typically, 20% of the developed economy costs from a people perspective. Affordable solutions targeted towards 8 billion people. This is why the world needs India. When a product comes from a developed economy, it's targeted towards 1 billion people in the world. When a product comes from India, it's targeted towards 8 billion people in the world, because we are a lower cost economy. And if it has to sell in India, it must be affordable. And so this product then can go to Africa, can go to emerging economies, developing economies, etc. Vaccine itself, the vaccine from the US for COVID was $20 per dose. From India, it was $3 per dose. So India became the vaccine capital for the world, right? So that's the reason why we need India to be a product economy. Then diversity of perspectives, more people working on the problem gets solved faster. This is what I tell all philanthropies now, global philanthropies. If you're spending $5 outside the country, spend $1 in India, we will double the research output. So you are actually making your money, your dollar go much longer or much more impactful by doing work with Indian academia, Indian research institutions, etc. Slowly, the philanthropies are starting to understand, and they are now collaborating with Indian research ecosystems. We want to do collaborative research. There is a need for India to become a product-led economy. This is actually very, very important, and I cannot add to what Dr. Satish Reddy said, because strategic autonomy, being Atmanirbhar, is very, very important. We have in the recent past several examples. COVID, right? Ventilators were not available. We had to scramble around, design, develop, manufacture. But that gives us confidence that we can do that. Operation Sindoor, great example. And there are many startups which were actually part of Operation Sindoor. I talked to some founders who said they were actually sitting in the border areas because of the speed at which the product was required. They couldn't train anybody else, so they had to themselves go to the border areas and man these drones and things like that. So it is very, very important for us to transition. There's another reason. If you want to accelerate the growth of the economy, we want to grow at 8-10% per annum. How can you do that without having the acceleration created by the startups? Startups go from 0 to 100 when large companies go from 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, because they will go incremental growth. Whereas startups accelerate significantly. You create a unicorn within, let's say, 5 years, 10 years. That's very, very important for accelerating the growth of the economy. New jobs, new products, new technologies, etc. So I will skip this. This is the context. You all know that Professor Thillarajan's book is there. There's a Thai publication that gives you more data on that. We have become the third best ecosystem for startups, and we need to leverage this to create new multinational corporations. We have to leverage this to create new multinational corporations. This is the opportunity that we have. You look at the top 10 companies in the US in market cap. They're less than 50 years old, right? That's the opportunity that we have. We can create the largest companies in the world in the shortest period of time if we leverage the startup ecosystem, leverage technologies that are coming at this point. And India has significant advantage. We can become a superpower. Talent is number one. India advantage, I'll come back to this, leveraging technology disruptions and developing an entrepreneurial mindset. This is something that has happened in the last 10 years, and that's where we are here now. I want the entrepreneurial mindset to come in the research ecosystem. In the research ecosystem, you're still in the olden days, publishing a paper, doing something small, not thinking big, right? We need the research ecosystem, the scientists to now start thinking big. We can do it. ISRO is a proof of that. DRDO is a proof of that, actually. LCA is a proof of that. Of course, we need to crunch the time to produce the product and things like that, but that entrepreneurial ecosystem exists. And to me, entrepreneurial mindset is within constraints, develop world-class products, unique products. products that the country requires, the product that society requires, under constraints. Managing that whole design to development to market, creating a sustainable ecosystem or an enterprise. That's what an entrepreneur is all about. On the research side also, we need to make this indeed happen. So the India advantage, large STEM talent, is second largest in the world. Increased focus on R&D and more importantly translation R&D. The government is now fully supporting this. You've seen quantum mission, national mission on interdisciplinary cyber-physical systems, AI mission, semiconductor mission, IDEX program from Government of India. So many programs are there working with research ecosystem as well as the startup ecosystem. ANRF, right, again, to boost the research ecosystem, etc. Market is very important. And India has proved that it has it can create unique models for the world. UPI, India Stack, the Startup India, ANRF I talked about, IDEX is important. And develop in India for the world, that's something that we need to think about. Actually, when we do research also, we need to start thinking about developing India for the world. I will not go into this actually because of shortage of time, but on the unique model that we created. See, the India model is public goods, digital public infrastructure, innovation on top. So nobody owns that infrastructure, nobody owns that data is available for public use. Now this is a very unique model. The US model is all the data is with 5 companies. All the innovation is with 5 companies. Very different model. Again, this is the model that rest of the world requires. The UID has been open sourced. It's called MOSIP. Professor Sadagopan is here. He started that program at IIIT Bangalore. 27 or 28 countries around the world are now deploying MOSIP. The world wants it, right? And on top of UID, other applications can be deployed, including healthcare or payment, UPI and things like that can be deployed. ONDC is another one to create a open network for any digital transaction. It could be healthcare, it could be e-commerce, it could be even education and things like that. The second one is the India advantage. The second is amazing number of emerging technologies are disrupting every industry. And I won't go into these things, but every industry is going to be disrupted. Automotive, think about it. New fuel technology, that's electric vehicles and things like that. Autonomous vehicles, right? New electronics and connected cars and things like that. All kinds of innovations are happening in transportation, and we have to think about public transportation. What should our cities look like? Can we afford to have private vehicles in our cities? We probably can't afford to do that. So we have to rethink the architecture of cities and things like that, because we have to reduce the pollution, we have to make it easy to drive and things like that. Biosciences, again, new drugs. I believe that in the next 10 years probably we will have drugs for Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, cancer, especially with AI coming in and helping in drug discovery. We will be able to, and in diagnostics, we will be able to solve some of the challenging problems facing humanity. I have personally worked in this area and demonstrated. This is what gives me the confidence to say that we can do world-class things here. This is the Brain Center at IIT Madras. They have done something which the entire world is now looking up to. They get cadaver brains. These are donated by people who pass away. And these brains have to be brought to IIT Madras within a specified period of time, making sure that the tissues are not damaged, etc. They then slice this at 50 micron thickness. This technology is developed in the mechanical engineering department at IIT Madras. Imagine tissue being sliced at 50 micron thickness. Our hair is about 100 micron. Human tissue sliced at 50 micron thickness. That protocol itself is something that they can now share with the world actually. Imaged at 1 micron at cellular resolution. That 2D image is fed to a computer. All the slices are fed, so the 3D image is created on the computer at a resolution that is unprecedented. The first 5,000 images of a brain, of a fetal brain, of a unborn baby, 12 months to 24 months, was published recently in February, February I think. 5,000 images. This is the largest number of images anywhere in the world, this second trimester. It's 10 times better resolution than the next best, which is at the Allen Institute in Seattle. 10 times better at 1/10 the cost. So now Allen Institute is actually now collaborating with IIT Madras on their next program. The discussions are going on. This is what is possible in India. We can do world first research in India. There's a lot of benefit from this. They will publish 200 brain images, 200 brains they will image, which will be the largest collection of brain images in the world. This will drive new MRI protocols. This will drive surgeons to do better surgeries. This will become a useful tool for finding diseased brains and things like that. Anybody wanting to know, how does a normal brain look like at all age groups? How does the brain develop from 0 to 5 when the maximum growth happens? All of that will come out of this at the cellular level. The ICPS experience that I've had with Department of Science and Technology, this program allowed us to create 25 hubs, technology innovation hubs across the country in the major institutes and things like that. And this is primarily focused on translational work. Each hub focuses on a unique technology, like Indian Institute of Science is looking at robotics, IIT Madras is on IoT and sensors, FinTech is at, if I remember right, Bhopal I think, Health Tech is at Indore, IIT Indore, 5G, 6G is at IIT Hyderabad and IIT Bangalore. So lots and lots. Mining. We have wonderful technologies, AR/VR technologies in mining. I was pleasantly surprised at the kind of work that ISM Dhanbad is doing. Amazing technology. They have created a digital twin of a mine in the lab. They have implemented 5G within the mines, deep underneath the ground and things like that. Amazing work is being done here. And I'm quite sure that this can be deployed now in mines around the world. So this is what is possible. And last but not least, the Bharat Jan initiative at IIT Bombay, which is collaborating with multiple institutes, IIT Hyderabad, IIT Mandi, Kanpur, Hyderabad, Indore, Madras, etc. It's one of the largest initiatives around generative AI, leveraging AI for benefits to Indian society and rest of the world. So they are able to do language translation in real time, etc. That will be useful for, let's say, European Union, etc. So this is what gives me the confidence that we can build a deep tech driven innovation ecosystem in India. We need it. One, I believe that every institute must come up with 3 or 4 mission mode programs every year. These are large, multi-year, multidisciplinary mission mode programs. Like the mapping of creating the human brain atlas, cure for cancer, cure for Alzheimer's, understanding dementia, creating an autonomous vehicle. In IIT Madras, they want to do Hyperloop, right? Test Hyperloop between two locations and things like that. Come out with mission mood programs. Every institute must do this. They are doing hundreds of thousands of small incremental projects, publishing one paper. Let that go on. But they must come up with a mission mode program, because the spin-out from this will be really, really large. We need to look at global leadership and creating large businesses with export potential. This is what really is. And what gives me confidence? Look at IT services industry. It's almost $300 billion, employs 5.5 million people, truly world class. The top five companies in the top 10 are Indian. And India has become the default location for global capability centers, 1,800 or something like that, and growing very fast. Global leadership is possible. We need to, and multi-billion-dollar industry. So how can we create many multi-billion-dollar industries out of India? We can do that in drones. We can be number one in the world in drones. Of course, this is multi-year, multidisciplinary. It requires lots of technologies to come together. AI to vision to laser, all kinds of things to come together. But that's what is fascinating about it, and we can become leader in this. We have to create translational and entrepreneurial ecosystem. We have piloted the Section 8 company concept because this allows the industry to collaborate, and this allows freedom to operate for the research institute. Because this is a business now, but it's not for profit. Public-private partnership, but I believe it has to be private-led. Because we have to have the speed of execution of private business. That's what is needed. And that's what the startups are demonstrating today, that they can do things much faster than large companies. Large pools of deep tech VC fund, I strongly feel that we have to create billion-dollar funds. See, in the US today, seed funding is 20 billion and plus. In India, seed funding is still 1 million or less. How do our startups compete? We need large VC funds here in India and deep tech VC funds. Longer duration, 15 years, etc. Venture studio model to take things out of lab to market, because the scientists may not want to be an entrepreneur. So we need a venture studio model to do this. Government support at center and state levels, very, very important. Without government support, this cannot happen. There is a lot of support from center, a lot of support in certain states. Karnataka is a great example. Telangana is another example where we have tremendous support from government. Most of the southern states seem to be getting it. We need now the northern states, especially northeast, because we have to make it a whole India program, not just one location or something like that. Every state must have a very robust ecosystem. Each state has its own strengths, and we need to leverage that. And lastly, IDEX like purchase commitments from government. It was the most difficult sector to break into, defense. Because they need trustworthy systems. They don't want something which is half-cooked or half-baked. You can't afford to fight in a war with that. But they figured it out, right, to fast-track purchases and things like that. We need government to work with the ecosystem to make this indeed happen. Thank you very much.
May I invite Madan Patki and Anandi Iyer to please step up on stage to felicitate our speaker for detailing out what does it take to innovate, and in fact segregating and segmenting it for our easy understanding at an individual level, and of course the deep tech system, the government-private partnership. I think much ground has been covered. Let's hear it for Kris Gopalakrishnan for his keynote address on this very crucial topic that he has shared with us. what it takes for India to innovate. In fact, I had a chance to visit the Center for Brain Research, CBR in Chennai, and it's just phenomenal what has been achieved. One of the examples that he had given, it's wonderful to have him list out many of these developments across India and also the possibilities. Thank you, Kris, once again.